heavily damaged! Fast reload activated. We're hit! We hit the enemy! We're under attack! Target penetrated. The ship is on fire! Good job!
Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. We've looked at the Thunderer last week, the new Tier 10 premium British battleship, cruiser thing. So I figured, given that the Thunderer was, I'd say it's an okay ship, it wasn't like a great ship, how does the Conqueror, the Tech Tree Tier 10 British battleship, compare? And we've already looked at the stats, but let's have a very quick refresher of what's the difference between the Conqueror, which you can get for free, and the Thunderer, which you cannot. At least not easily, because that was a lot of resources for that thing. So in line with the British battleship line in Tech Tree, the Conqueror gets the rapid reload versus the Thunderer, which gets the precise aim and a whole bunch of other things. The Conqueror has a slight amount of more health, but in effect it won't make a huge difference. The armor is, for all intents and purposes, identical. You do take a little bit less damage from torpedoes, but again, it's not a huge difference. So once again, we have that obscure situation here where the top-tier British battleships, and just British battleships in general, seem to have taken the short straw in terms of armor. And this is not quite how they actually were. I mean, Conqueror never existed, but definitely not that thinly armored. The maneuverability on the Conqueror is where the biggest difference is, or one of the two biggest differences really is. Now, while she gets up to speed just a little bit faster, the turn time, and once again, the turn time is the time it takes to shift the rudder from all the way from one side to all the way from the other side, is significantly longer. And we're talking 17 versus 10 seconds here. So that is a noticeable difference. This is more in line with what you would find with other top-tier battleships. Now, the difference being that other top-tier battleships actually oftentimes have armor that can sustain, this sort of maneuverability absence. The Conqueror does not. The guns are 419mm versus the Thunderer's 457mm, which, because of reasons, are loading slower, but have slightly better range. Now, they won't do as much damage, and they don't have as high a fire chance, but you get 12 of them versus the 8 on the Conqueror. So that on the Thunderer. So that's actually a decent difference, especially when you're talking about fire chance, because the fire chance is per shell hit. And I haven't done the math, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were definitely on par, given that you have more shells that you can get on target here. The secondaries are identical, and the AA is, for all intents and purposes, identical. The Thunderer's big difference here is obviously that she gets the defensive AA consumable, whereas this thing does not. Also, the Thunderer has better concealment than the Conqueror. So, do you play the Conqueror the same way as you would play the Thunderer? I don't know. I think you have to be even more hanging back and kind of, if you're facing enemy battleships, top-tier battleships, you have to play the range game. Now, 14.6 kilometer range isn't bad, but it's also not monstrous. So the one gameplay that you have in the Conqueror is to try and set fires. So you try to get a salvo out, set 1 or 2 fires, force a damacon, and then flip on the rapid reload, send on the next salvo, and try to get 2 or 3 permafires. That is how you do damage against enemy battleships. All right. Setup-wise, I have it's rather similar, but I have used the main battery mod 3 here because the dispersion isn't great on the Conqueror, and you really do need to get these shells on target because your alpha damage isn't going to be much. So if we're taking a very quick look at the guns again, the HE, which is mostly what you're going to be firing against battleships, unless they're already on fire, or you have something that is equally poorly armored as you are, is doing 1500 alpha damage. Now you take off the damage reduction, which is at tier 10, can usually be somewhere around 15% or something, and you're taking a semi-pen and you end up with 600 points of damage that you're doing with a shell. That is not much, and you're utterly relying on fires and on time, because it takes time to whittle down an enemy battleship with fires, in which time you yourself must not be killed. So getting more shells on target is a good thing. The commander skills are slightly different here because we have a different skill set on the ship. So I do have the underwater protection, torpedo alert, artillery maintenance, the victorious charge. You do want the fire supremacy because you do want an additional rapid reload, because I think, what was it, 2 she gets out of the box, right? Yeah, 2. So 2 is not enough, which means that the survivalist skill, which would be something that would come in quite handy, especially with some of the legendary commanders that have an enhanced survivability. I can't remember if it was BT or one of the other people, but that's a trade-off here that you have to make, because I think you do want another additional rapid reload. You can take the fully prepared in return. You most definitely want exploit weakness, because you are expecting to have things set on fire, so doing a little bit of additional damage is always good. And the extinguisher is highly recommended because the damage control on the ship itself isn't great, and you do get set on fire quite a fair bit. The demo expert I would recommend as well, and for one reason, because you are trying to trigger damage cons. And shooting somebody's guns off is often a good way to get them to use a damage con, and then you can set your permafires. And here, once again, a trade-off, because you have to trade the compartment maintenance that might be useful for the master reloader, which you absolutely need, because, well, getting shells on target really is where it's at. The armor piercing isn't bad. If you're firing at poorly armored battleships like anything else British, maybe at tier 9 French battleships or Iowas or Izumos, you can often actually score citadel hits with especially at long range and plunging fire, with the armor piercing. But against Yamatos, Vermonts, Montanas, all these kind of things, you probably want to use the high explosive. So the IFHE giving you an additional boost to penetration and giving you is probably something you want, especially that the difference between a semi-pen and the full pen on these massive shells is significant. So it's easy 500-600 points of damage extra that you get for a full pen versus a semi-pen. All right. I think the camouflage is probably similar. Actually, I think it was different actually between this one. Let's have a very quick look back on the Thunderer, because I can't remember. So the one weird thing about the Thunderer was that it gives us large caliber AA range instead of dispersion, which is something that you'd expect more, whereas the Conqueror actually gets hit points, range, dispersion, and torpedo damage reduction. So more of the traditional battleship camouflage. All right. So the question to be answered is this ship competitive, or do you have fun playing this ship in tier 10? How much work is it? And is it worth grinding up there? Well, let's have a look at some games and see if we can come to a conclusion. We're starting out on the Atlantic base capture in a somewhat typical battle that you'd find at top tier. We've got double Yama, Vermont, there's one Friedrich, a Daring, a Shima, and a Fletcher. A conspicuous absence of cruisers as usual. And you have to, in this ship, stand up against Yamatos and things like Vermonts. And your armor really, really isn't made for that sort of thing. And with a 17-second base turn rate, and I think I've got it down to like 15 or something, it's also not very easy to actually dodge shells. So what you definitely want to do is you want to play conservative. You want to play from the rear. You want to find yourself island positions where you get some cover. Because playing out in the open, while this is kind of something you could do in the Thunderer, which is reasonably maneuverable, even though her actual turning circle is having its own postcode, in the Conqueror you kind of can't do that. So you do need to hang a little bit outside, which means I am actually going to loop around that island there and see if the Yugomo can spot anything, especially with 3 destroyers out there on a map that is so full of small islands like this one. And this is not one of my favorite maps, to be honest. You will find yourself in a lot of ambush positions. So I'm not sure why the Montana is this aggressive. I would have, if I was playing that, I would have actually stopped at that ledge there, because he's definitely in range of whatever's over there. And if he's going to loop around the island, that means he's flat against the island and yeah, starting to open up. Now, he doesn't have a chance to disengage, which means he's getting shot at by, what is that? I mean, it's going to be either Vermonts or Yamatos. And you don't necessarily want that. Now, I would like to assist, but I do need to loop around here. The one thing the Conqueror has going for her, torpedoes, okay. So definitely one of the destroyers on the other side of this island. Definitely something the Conqueror has going for her is that she is quick. But yeah, I think the Montana has either taken a bunch of torps, and there's one coming in, but it doesn't have range. And yeah, there's one of the Shimas. But I have a Vermont over there who's looking like he's going to take some torps. So I'm not sure if he's going to get flooded, but definitely going to get some shots out here. And yeah, Montana is running. Okay, so that's one fire on the Vermont. Is he damage conning the fire? Yes, he is. Now we switch on the rapid reload. He has a 10-second cooldown on the damage control, but he is also 14 kilometers away, so it's going to take a while for the shells to get there. And that's a double perma fire. Yep, that's why you don't damage control single fires. See if we can get another one, because there is a Shima out there, and there's also a Yamato, so I do need to stop here and use this island, because I think the Montana has been sunk, which is to nobody's great surprise, because he rushed out way too aggressively before even the destroyers were spotted. And the Vermont is kind of going behind the island, so I'm not sure I'm going to get another shot off at this guy. Obviously, I would like to kill him first, because A, he's got lots of very big guns and a very slow reload, which means that something like the Vermont is always the more dangerous the longer you leave them alive, but I'm not sure my shells could make that loop. Plus there's a Shimakaze over there, so they're probably, yep, they are the torpedoes. I knew these were coming. And yeah, they're clipping the island there, so I think I've managed to avoid those, which leaves the Yamato. So Yamato, the Yamato can just sit there broadside on and launch shells at me. I mean, at this max range, he's probably not going to be doing a massive amount of, 8 hits, no fires, thank you, a massive amount of damage. But I also don't want to be sitting too much around here. And once again, with the steering, you see what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to steer the ship around to dodge some shells, but it is reasonably difficult. Now he is hitting my bows, because which means I've just wasted a damage con, because I am reversing, but now I've reversed actually out of range, and he outranges me, so he can shoot at me while I can't shoot at him. Well, he would have to see me to shoot at me, which means I can actually move forward a little bit, maybe more aggressively. I'm not sure what our destroyer is doing there in a point-blank battle with the Shimakaze. But, okay, let's keep that in mind. Yeah, Shimakaze kills the Yugomo. That was probably expected. Let's keep in mind that there's a Shimakaze in front of us. So maybe we can get one more salvo out at the Yamato, but then we do need to turn around. Yeah, Yamato went unspotted. There's the other Yamato, is full health. We've already lost 4 out of our team. And the Shimakaze is on almost no health. So I'm going to just loop around and finish that guy off, because he can't see me. Surprise! Oh crap, yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's one dead Shimakaze, but yeah, the other Yamato is full health. There's absolutely nothing we can do. But it's still an interesting experiment to see how much damage we can still do to these guys in such a situation, because it's kind of a one-on-one fight. That Yamato there, I'm going to send salvo on him just because he's giving me a nice flat broadside. But the other Yamato is the one I'm going to have trouble with. So we're on similar health, that Yama and me. And I don't know what battleship we have back at Cap, but we've lost this game. So what can I do? fighting this Yamato on my own. Now I could of course do something like go bow in, but the point is the Yamato at this point is rushing me because well, I'm alone and he doesn't have any reason not to. So I am obviously trying to set fires. There's a fire. Let's see if he damacons that. And I am trying to, as much as possible, be maneuverable and not sit still, enabling the rapid reload. He damage cons the fire. So any fires I set now should be sticking. And let's see if we can get a permafire, but dispersion says no. And RNG says no. And he's got backup from the Vermont. I'm varying my speed, trying to get him to hit my bow and stern section instead of my center, which is where my citadel sits. Okay, that's 2 double fires. And it looks like he doesn't quite manage to citadel me from where he's shooting. But obviously at 8-kilometer range with the precision of a ship like the Yamato, there's very little I can do about that. But and the Vermont gets shooting at me. That's triple permafire, and the two have burned out. But I'm even in the secondary range of the Yamato now, so it's really just about seeing how much damage I can do. I don't want to prolong this unnecessarily because everybody is just waiting for me to die so they can get their victory. But I can get a couple more shots out and set another fire on the Yamato. He doesn't damacon because it is not worth it, because they have already won. It's really just about me seeing how much damage I can still do. But yeah, she will struggle. She will struggle in a one-on-one against something like a Yamato. Unless you can keep the range open, and even then it's not necessarily given. So if the Yamato knows how to aim and hits you in the right spots, then you'll be down very, 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 very quickly. I mean, that said, 80,000 points of damage is nothing to sneeze at for a tier 10 game, but it's not easy to do this. So you do need a decent amount of focus. Let's do another one where we have a slightly different situation, maybe. And here we are in a game that has 4 destroyers, triple Shima and a Fletcher. Okay, so Yamato and Conqueror are things that I'm going to be firing a high explosive at. Conqueror maybe not, if I can catch him. Yoshino definitely armor piercing, and the destroyer is obviously high explosive. So we are playing encounter base capture. We have a Minotaur and a Yoshino of our own, which is good. Let's hope that I mean the Yoshino not quite so much, but the Yoshino has lots of torps, so they can at least repel destroyers. The Minotaur obviously is absolutely dangerous against destroyers, so let's hope that they're kind of hanging in the middle and doing destroyer cleanup and defense and all kinds of stuff, because we've got the battleships spawning on one side and the cruisers on the other. So I'm kind of conflicted here. Am I going to hang left or am I going to hang right? Now, in the absence of an actual battleship, of an actual cruiser on the left flank, I will probably have to play the cruiser role because I have very good high explosive and I've got lots of guns and I've got a rapid reload. So it doesn't look like that either Mino or Yoshino are hanging over here. So I'm not sure what Monty is doing. He's probably trying to make up his mind as well. But I'm going to support the Shima and the Daring here on the left flank to do something because the cruisers are not here, and depending on where the destroyers are coming. Okay, we know that there's one Shima coming and the Yoshino on the enemy side. So I'm going to need the armor piercing for the Yoshino. I'm getting ready to shift after I've unloaded my guns, maybe at the Shima if I can. But at this range, it's very, very difficult to actually hit destroyer. So it's probably easier to just hit the Yoshino from here and then switch out the guns. We still haven't spotted the other destroyers. We know where the 2 battleships are. There come the Shima torps. I know these were coming. That's why I'm slowing down. And shots out at the Yoshino, switch over to the armor piercing. That's 1 fire on the Yoshino. Is he damage? Yeah, he damage conned it. Would have been nice to actually have the high explosive at this point, but these are... Oh, Fletcher. Okay, Fletcher close. Another Shima over there. Okay, back. That means we're going to need to get back to the high explosive, and we're going to have some Fletcher torps in the water. And the Fletcher has been pushed away. But, there's another Shima as well. Okay. Shots out at the Yoshino, and then we're going to need to do some torp dodging here. Okay, so let's get through this. Bunch of Shima. These should still be the Fletcher torps. So Shima is still going to try and torp me. Of course, that's what happens when you shoot at a Yoshino. There come the Shima torps. So as soon as I'm through the Fletchers, I need to switch to the left. I'm not sure if these are aimed at me or if these were aimed at Monty. But I hope Monty did get out of the way because... okay, that Shima is dead because he hasn't been paying attention to his sides. But we've dodged these torps. And they're one Shima down, which means that 2 of the 3 remaining destroyers are here, and the cruisers are on the other end of the map fighting the battleships. Which means that I am going to be in cruiser mode here. I would love to kill that Yoshino to support our destroyers there. But we have a Shimakaze coming around the long way. And I think, what was it, Daring here helping out? So yeah, my HE is doing... Daring calls out the Shimakaze as a target. Yes, because if we leave this guy alone, he's just going to start stealth torping around in the countryside, or is going for the cap, and is going to really mess with our gig here. So that guy needs to die. And Daring's been pushing out some torps, but it would be great if he can get him spotted. I'm just afraid of Shima torps. Can't see him right now, so can I get shot off at Yoshino? No, I can't. Okay, there's Shima. I should be out of his torp range, but easily. I'm just waiting if he's going to hit the island, or if he is actually... is he going to beach? No, he's not going to beach, so I do need to lead more. Shots out, and then we can start moving in a little bit closer. Just in case, once again, he has torps around. Okay, no hits there. That's unfortunate, because he turned. But there might be Shima torps, so definitely going to go a bit more bow in here. And you can dodge torpedoes in the ship, obviously, but given the sluggish, the more traditional battleship rudder, it's a little bit harder. Okay, that's a bunch of hits here. And once again, nose in case there are Shima torps. Shima is smoking up. And yeah, there comes some Shima torps. These were pre-spotted by the friendly Shima. Okay, there's still 2 more destroyers. One of them is at the enemy cap. And I have no idea where the other one is. So... well, there's still Fletcher and 2 Shimas around, so we do have to be a bit careful. That was only 1 spread, so Shima still has 2 more, which means I'm slowing down a little bit and just trying to use the secondaries to scout the smoke and see if he's anywhere in there. Just firing at the final puff to see if there's any Shima in there. I don't want to waste my guns, my main guns, if I don't know where exactly he is. But Daring and friendly Shima should be able to spot him reasonably soon. I'm obviously spotted by that Shima. Okay, don't have anything else to shoot at, so I might as well unload at the Conqueror if I can get in range. I know that I'm spotted by the Shima, and I'm pointing my nose towards where I think he is. Oh, there he is, just the moment I unload. Okay, emergency rapid reload, and there might be more torpedoes in the water, which means I'm gonna have to turn right but I do want to get my guns on target first. And once I've dealt with that Shima over there, I need to turn hard right to avoid his torpedoes. Okay, that's Shima dead. Now I have a problem. If I turn hard right, that Shima and Fletcher are going to kill me. If I turn left, I'm going to take Shima torps. Okay, I might be able to survive Shima torps because they're long range. And there they come. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing I can do about this. So the spread is a little bit bigger. And but I do need to keep my distance here. And yeah, I have triple fire and the flood that I damage con. So now it's just about killing the Fletcher, and the other Shima is going to have torps away. So put her in reverse, full turn right, secondaries out. These are the Shima torps. Not going to dodge the Fletcher torps, but I might still be able to take him down with me. I might take one or two torps here, maybe 3, because once again the rudder shift means I can't actually get. And yeah, that's a permaflood. Of course, it's a permaflood, and he shoots my rudder off. I can still get revenge, yeah, but it's a permaflood, so RNG says nope, and now I can't even steer the ship at this point, and the Conqueror is just going to kill me, right? Yeah. Okay, so well, we've done our duty. We've taken down 2 destroyers, and yeah, Mino has finally found it in his heart to come around and kill that guy, which means there's just Conqueror and the Yoshino left, which means hopefully our team should be able to mop this up. This is hard, this sort of thing. A lot of my torpedo dodging here has just relied on the enemy destroyers doing very, very poor torpedo drops, because they were very predictable and they were all coming in the same slot on a narrow spread, and it was a relatively easy dodge that you could have done in any other battleship. The problem arises more with the steering if you are if you're trying to dodge, well, shells from other battleships, because you just can't get sufficient maneuverability out of the ship to make that happen. Is she a terrible tier 10 ship? No, but I also don't feel like she's a great tier 10 ship, honestly, because the armor just doesn't hold up, and you don't have the maneuverability to compensate for that. You do need to, in battleship, like line battles, you do need to take you do need to take point more than you would generally want to, because you have a slightly shorter range. You can use islands, and if you can manage to find positions where you're not getting shot at in return, you can do a lot of damage, especially with the high explosive. And the armor piercing against cruisers works very well at close ranges, even at mid ranges. That's not the issue. The problem here is your biggest problem are going to be things like Vermonts and Yamatos and these sort of things. Hell, even Montanas or German battleships at long range are going to be having a field day, because you just don't have the health or the firepower to do something about them very quickly. You can, if left alone, rack up a fair amount of high explosive damage, and that's good. But if I wanted an HE spammer, I'd rather get something that's maneuverable and can actually and has a rapid rate of fire. Whereas you can very reliably set fires. The trick in playing the Conqueror is in getting yourself into positions where you're allowed to do so. So salvo out, set a fire, wait the damage con, hit the rapid reload, set triple perma fire, rinse and repeat. That is kind of what you want to do in the Conqueror. The big problem is getting yourself into a position where you're allowed to do so. Because if you get return fire from big shells, then the Conqueror isn't standing up to that very well at all. But yeah, that's the Conqueror. Personally, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of battleships to begin with, and especially at top tier, because I just don't like the gameplay too much. And the Conqueror is playable, but it's work. Let me put it that way. So probably not a line that I am particularly keen on playing on grinding up very quickly. But you know, if everybody to their own playstyle, you don't see British battleships around all that often. So if you think that this is something that you would enjoy, and you like to play that a bit more at range, and you like to have the HE to do something about destroyers if they get cheeky, then by all means. It's not a terrible ship, but it's definitely struggling to do something against the big boys like the Yamatos and the Vermonts up there. So anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.